Minecraft has an update problem. And no, I don't just mean, oh, this feature wasn't for me. I mean the bigger picture. Because when you compare what Minecraft updates used to feel like to what they feel like now under this drop system, something is clearly different. And I think players are finally starting to feel it. Not just because the updates are smaller, but because they feel less cohesive, less impactful, and honestly, sometimes just kind of random. And when your newest headlining feature is basically, hey guys, the mobs are cuter now, yeah, people are going to start asking questions. So today I want to break this whole thing down. I want to compare Caves and Cliffs, which was split into part 1 and 2, against the full set of 2025 game drops. Then I want to tie that into the first two 2026 drops, Tiny Takeover and Chaos Cubed, and talk about why the community reaction has been so mixed, where the real issues are, and why I think Mojang's biggest problem right now might not even be the content itself. It might just be the communication. So let's start with what people are comparing this all against. Back in the older update model, Minecraft would take its time. You might wait a year, you might wait longer, but when that update came out, it felt like an event. It had a clear identity. The Nether update felt like a Nether update. Update Aquatic felt like they changed the entire ocean system, and Caves and Cliffs felt like this giant overhaul of the overworld. Even when Mojang split Caves and Cliffs into two parts, they were very open that this was because it had gotten too technically ambitious to ship all at once. They specifically framed the split around world gen complexity, quality concerns, and team health. And that matters, because people were willing to be patient when they understood that the vision was still there and big. That was still one major focused update. It wasn't random, it wasn't scattered, it was just too big to land all at once. And I think the clearest way to show why this feels different now is just to look at the rough feature count. Now, obviously, feature counts are always a bit fuzzy. You can count every individual block variant separately, every mob variant separately, or every technical tweak separately, so I'm not pretending there's one perfect number. But as a fair overall estimate, Caves and Cliffs as a whole had about 50 plus meaningful added features. Think about everything packed into that update. New mobs like the axolotl, goat, the glow squid, copper, amethyst, deep slate, dripstone, candles, lightning rods, tinted glass, spyglass, the raw ores, the powder snow mechanics. Then on top of that, you had lush caves, dripstone caves, mountain biomes, world height changes, deeper underground generation, aquifers, noise caves, new ore distribution, world blending for older saves, and core spawning changes. That update didn't just add stuff. It changed how the game felt. Now compare that to the 4 combined 2025 drops. Spring to Life, Chase the Skies, The Copper Age, and Mounts of Mayhem. Put all 4 together, and you're probably looking about 20 to 25 major features total. And yes, there's content in there. And I just want to add this as a side note, free content. Spring to Life added biome-based animal variants, decorative plants, ambient touches, and fallen trees. Chase the Skies added happy gas, harnesses, the locator bar, leash changes, and craftable saddles. One reason to not explore anymore. The Copper Age expanded copper into gear, storage, decoration, and the copper golem. The Mounts of Mayhem added spears, an amazing new weapon, new rideable content, and more mount/combat chaos. But here's the point. Even if those features are cool, they don't land with the same weight. They don't feel like one massive unified vision. They feel like smaller bundles of ideas, and I think that difference is exactly what people are reacting to. Because on paper, the drop system sounds good. Smaller updates, more frequent releases, less waiting. Cool. But the trade-off is that you lose the sense of momentum. You lose the "this is the update" feeling. You lose that big, memorable identity where the whole community feels like the game has moved into a new chapter. Now instead, it's kind of like, all right, what are we getting this quarter? And sometimes the answer is some nice decorative stuff, some mob variants, some cute changes, and one weird new mechanic. Individually, that can be fine, but collectively, it starts to feel thinner. And I'm not even saying that players hate the small updates. I don't think that's the real issue. I think the real issue is that small updates feel a lot worse when players don't know if the big stuff is still coming. That's the part that Mojang is not handling well right now. Take the Tiny Takeover, for instance. Officially, this drop is built around redesigned baby mobs, baby sounds, craftable name tags, another reason not to explore. golden dandelions that keep the babies from growing up, and that new trumpet-style note block instrument tied to copper oxidization. And look, that is technically content, and I'm not saying they literally added nothing, but come on. One of the biggest talking points around your update is basically, hey guys, the baby mobs are cuter now. That is not going to hit the same as a world-shaping update, and I get it, that's by design. But that's not going to satisfy players who've been waiting for something major. Redesigning baby mobs might be cute, but it doesn't feel substantial, and it doesn't really affect gameplay in a meaningful way. And it makes people wonder why Mojang is putting time into this, while bigger, long-running systems still feel unresolved. That's not people being unreasonable, that's an understandable reaction. Now, Chaos Cubed is a little more interesting, because to be fair, it has one genuinely creative mechanic. Officially, it brings in more world gen, sulfur caves, sulfur and cinnabar block sets, noxious pools, and the sulfur cube. A mob that absorbs blocks and changes its behavior based on what block it absorbs. That's actually cool, it's unique, and that has real sandbox potential. It's weird in a good Minecraft way. But even then, it still runs into the same bigger issue, because the response a lot of people are going to have is, okay, but why another cave biome? We already had the cave update. And it's not just some little cave refresh, we had the cave update. So when people have been asking for things like an end update, ancient city portal follow-through, combat changes, villager changes, minecart changes, then they see another cave-focused drop, yeah, that's where the disconnect shows up. The sulfur cube itself is pretty cool, but it also just feels like the kind of feature that benefits minigame and multiplayer creativity more than that satisfies the average single-player survival player who's been waiting for a major progression level update. And that criticism makes sense. This is where I think Mojang's biggest actual problem is. It's not the baby mobs, it's not the sulfur caves, it's not even the drop system by itself. The real problem is that they're not communicating enough about the bigger plan. Because if Mojang just came out and said, hey, we're still working on a major themed update. Yes, it is something the community has been asking for. No, it's not close enough to reveal yet. In the meantime, these smaller drops are how we're going to keep the content moving. That alone would help so much. Seriously. Because then people would understand what these smaller drops are supposed to be. They'd stop judging every one of them like it's supposed to carry the full weight of a major update. Right now, the silence is what's killing Mojang. Because when there's no clarity, every smaller update starts to feel like a replacement instead of a side addition. That's why people get frustrated over and over again. That tension also shows up in public community feedback, asking for more cohesive, big update energy again. There's also another issue here that I think gets overlooked, and that's how this drop model feels for long-term world players. Because if Mojang keeps adding new world gen content in smaller chunks over time, that's great for brand new saves, but have you had a survival world for years? Now every time something new drops, you might have to travel absurd distances just to find new chunks and actually see the content. And yes, there are outside tools that let you reset chunks while keeping your builds, but that's outside the game, that's not a real built-in solution. So for a lot of players, this faster drop cadence actually creates more friction and not less. So where do I land on all this? I don't think the drop system is automatically bad. I don't think every small update is pointless. And I don't think every criticism means that the community is impossible to please. What I do think is that small updates only work when players trust that the big stuff is still coming. And right now, Mojang has not done a good enough job building that trust. That's why every reveal feels more divisive, that's why the baby mob update gets clowned on, and that's why a cool mechanic like the Sulfur Cube still kind of gets a lukewarm reaction. Because players aren't just reacting to the feature, they're reacting to the bigger feeling that Minecraft updates have gotten smaller, less cohesive, and less satisfying than they used to be. And until Mojang gets more transparent about their long-term 50-year vision, I think that criticism is going to get louder. Because eventually, players feel like they're not being heard. They stop seeing drops as exciting and start seeing them as distractions. And that's the real danger. But that's just where I'm at on it. Let me know in the comments, would you rather have one huge themed update a year, or keep the smaller, more frequent drop system, or both? Do you think Mojang is secretly building towards something big, or do you think this is the future of Minecraft updates now? If you enjoyed this one, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks.